What happens when you fail to reinvent yourself?
I want to talk about the failure to reinvent yourself using my own weight loss journey failure story in this video. How's it going, Reinventors? I'm Amelia, and this is Reinventing You. This channel is all about inspiring you so that you will reinvent your own life in order to live a life of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. If this is your first time here, welcome. This channel is for you if you're considering making a major change in your life, and it could be in your health, areas of your health, relationships, your career, your spirituality, your mental health, whatever it is. This is the channel to inspire you, to give you some help and guidance on the way. And I hope that if you like this channel, not only will you subscribe, but you will also give me a thumbs up. In this video, I want to share with you my own failure to reinvent story. As many of you know, I have been in the process of reinventing myself for about 2.5, 3 years now, about as long as I've done this channel. And although I've done some really good things and I feel like I'm a success in certain areas or a work in progress in other areas, there is one place where I'm a huge failure, and that is weight loss. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about failure, real failure in reinventing, not perceived failure, but real failure, and how it can actually help you reinvent yourself. Now, when I started this reinventing journey, I had just retired from the ministry. I started this YouTube channel. I was looking forward to some things that I was going to be doing after retirement, and with this channel and with my family, all of these plans that I had. And there was a part of me that wasn't sure exactly where my reinventing was going to take me, but there were some things that I wanted to do, and one of them was to lose weight to improve my health. I read some articles, I went back on some things that helped me in the past, and I eventually took some advice from another YouTuber, and part of the advice was that you weighed yourself every single morning, not specifically had a particular diet or tried something and to do this or do that, or do keto, cut out this food, or start eating this, or do particular exercises. It was simply about just keeping track of my weight. And it worked for a time. It really was amazing, because what he had done is he had interviewed all these people to find out, and people had lost like a lot of weight, like close to 100 pounds, kind of like 50 to 100 pounds kind of weight. And he noticed that what people had in common when they lost weight was not that they went on a particular diet, but they had a sort of realization, a self-realization of what they weighed and what they needed to do. And it kind of just was in the background all of the time. One of the things they were to do was to weigh themselves every day, and then they were supposed to write it down and keep track of it. And there were a couple other things. Now, the only thing that I was really good at was weighing myself every day. You just saw the scales I used, and yes, I know they're quote old-fashioned, but believe it or not, we actually had a scale that belonged to my husband's grandmother, and that was the scale we had forever. And I finally convinced him to get rid of that one and get a new one. Of course, now scales are computerized and digital, and you can put it on your watch and all kinds of stuff, but this is an old-fashioned scale, and I'm supposed to write down every day what I weigh, and I don't do it. Now, my weight loss journey at first was a success. Now, the idea is not to lose, 50 pounds in 6 months. The idea is to get the weight off and keep it off. So one of the things that I did is I did lose about 7 pounds. It took a while. It took maybe a year, and I know that sounds crazy. But then when I went to the doctor the 1st of June in this year, during the pandemic, he said I had lost 3 pounds since the last visit. Now, at that time, I knew I had actually gained back a few of the pounds that I had lost. The pandemic just did us all in, I think. I think a lot of people had come into the office and really had gained weight. So he wanted to applaud me for actually losing weight. I guess he figured I must have lost even more and gained some back. I don't know. I was so proud of myself. But ever since then, it has been a downhill struggle. A lot of things have happened. One of the things is I've had problems with my foot. I have plantar fasciitis in one of my feet. When I read up of what I needed to do, one of the things it said is to make sure as soon as you get out of bed in the morning to put on shoes with good support. And actually I've gotten this insert in the tennis shoes, and I wear my tennis shoes now all the time, and it really does help. But what that means is if I put my tennis shoes on, I am not going in there to weigh myself, because that's an extra 10 pounds right there. I've stopped weighing myself. I know my weight is, I've probably gained back all that I have, tried to lose. And so I consider me losing weight to be a huge failure. And what has been really interesting for me is to get on YouTube and see how many videos are on weight loss. And it just makes me wonder, if that many people are losing weight, how many more people are not losing weight? How many more people are trying to lose weight and yet they're a failure at it? Maybe you're one of those. Maybe one of the things that you committed to in your reinventing journey was to improve your health, and that included losing some weight. How are you doing? How do you feel? Do you feel like you failed? I know that sometimes there's a perception that we failed when we're reinventing, but to really be a failure would be something like wanting to lose weight and instead gaining 10 pounds, or wanting to get out of a relationship and yet end up even more enmeshed in the relationship. It's wanting to change jobs and being unable to do that, maybe going back to school and failing a class, or not being recommended for a specific training or a promotion at work, or maybe being, interviewing for jobs and being told don't have the right experience. All of those things, we've psyched ourselves up, we've tried to make these huge changes, and we have failed. What do we do then? One of the things that I've learned recently through another YouTuber and my own life experience is that we have to learn the lesson. And for me, the lesson that I've learned is, what's my motivation and am I following through? In other words, in my own weight loss journey, sure, I was weighing myself every day, but I wasn't writing that down. I did not have something to keep me motivated, and that was another thing that was suggested that I do. And some people might put a picture on the refrigerator or have an old piece of clothing to look at, or some goal like that. But I didn't do any of those things. So I may have said in my mind, I'm going to lose weight, but I really didn't follow through with everything to make that goal possible, to make that commitment. And then, of course, I stopped weighing myself, and that right there is a huge red flag that I'm a failure at losing weight. I understand now that I need a particular kind of motivation, and I need clear, set boundaries and rules of what I really need to do. So here's what I'm going to do in terms of what I've learned and moving forward. Well, the first thing is, I realized after a recent health screening that I have got to do something in terms of helping my own health improve so that I don't have worse problems down the line. Now, it's not necessarily a weight loss plan, but it's definitely a health improvement plan. And I know that I need to be motivated, and certainly the danger that I might have if I don't do something really is a motivation. But I sat down recently and I wrote out 5 things to give up and 5 things to take on in order to improve my health. I've also told myself you cannot do all of this at one time. So, I'm starting with the one thing. And the one thing that I'm really trying to do right this very moment is to get better sleep. I've talked about it before. Sleep is one of those things that can help us out more than anything, whatever area of life that we are trying to reinvent ourselves. And for me, that's really important. If I'm getting good sleep, then a lot of other things are going to fall into place. So that's my first thing that I'm doing. The second thing that I'm doing to give up is to cut out red meat. So those are my first 2 steps that I'm taking. And I'm just going to take those for a while, and then I'll eventually do the others. I'm not rushing in and trying to do everything at once, which is my natural inclination. And I'm also going to keep track of it. How am I doing? Have I continued to get better sleep? Have I continued to cut out red meat? I've got others on board that are going to keep me accountable, which is very important. Whatever you're doing to reinvent yourself, I've talked about this before. have somebody that you trust keep you accountable, and that's what I'm doing. Now, I have had a weight loss failure. How about you? In the comments below, let me know if you've ever failed at weight loss. Surely somebody out there has that. And maybe what lessons did you learn from that experience? That's also, I think, well, the biggest takeaway. If you fail at some area, whether it's weight loss, relationships, jobs, or whatever, when you're trying to reinvent yourself, what lessons can you learn from that experience? And how can you pick yourself up and do better next time? That's what I'm doing, and I hope you will do the same. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it to somebody who may be struggling with a weight loss or reinventing issue themselves. Thank you for watching. Have a great